Welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Bjorn. Today we're going to be looking at a character that I designed purely around how high could I have my persuasion. As you can see here, we're at a 22. That's fucking crazy. Afterwards, I was trying to link it up to another character, something that people could relate to, and I felt that a character that somebody might want to play or have something akin to would probably be Captain Jack Sparrow. So I hope that people can take inspiration away from this build and create their own character, come up with your own backstory, claim this as your own and have fun with it. Okay, and let's go ahead and get into it. As we can see here, this is what the character is going to end off with. We go into Samurai Fighter of level 7, and then we go into Swashbuckler Rogue of level 13. We're going to start off with a Samurai Fighter. If you're really looking for that pirate feel, doesn't matter that you're playing a samurai fighter. Role play it out however you want to play out this character. You create this character, you create this backstory. It doesn't matter that you're not the swashbuckler right away. It matters of how you portray this character and how you go about with their own actions. Now, before we get into everything else, this character does require multi-classing. As we've seen, the fighter requires a strength or a dexterity of a 13, which is covered here, and the rogue requires a dexterity of 13. A very nice overlap, so this character is going to be a dexterity heavy build. So for stat priority, I would recommend going with having your dex the highest, and then I would recommend having wisdom and charisma being your next highest, or possibly these two over your dexterity, because these two are what's going to give us that plus 22 to our charisma. I swear to God, am I going to say that word forever now? Our charisma, our persuasion. There we go, I can do English. But some dump stats would possibly be your strength, possibly be your intelligence. Constitution, I would recommend not being a dump stat ever, because it's scary not having that much health, but it's up to you however you go about with this character. Now for the backstory, the background, of course this is up to you, go with whatever. I decided to go with criminal or spy. This gives us the deception and stealth. It also gives us a tool proficiency with the dice set, or I believe we also get the option of the thieves tools right away, but I chose this after I built it, so I didn't have that option. For the race of choice here, I specifically chose this Fierna tiefling, whatever. It's one of the variant tieflings. It's pretty impressive. It says plus 2 charisma plus 1 intelligence. It isn't. It's actually plus 2 charisma plus 1 wisdom, so that's a little bit off. I'm not sure why. When I want to go select it here, let's see here. Maybe I can show this. When I want to go select it, I believe it plus 2 to charisma plus 1 to dexterity. Up here it says plus 2 to charisma plus 1 to intelligence. I'm not sure why that's like that. I think this is just going off of the base one. Yeah, so go with the Ferna tiefling, whatever. But yeah, this one is pretty cool because it gives us the legacy of, I'm not going to try to pronounce that word. So it gives us the friends cantrip, very useful, so we gain advantage on those persuasion checks already with a 22 plus persuasion, and then we also gain the charm person, very befitting this persuasive individual and charming people. And then also we gain the suggestion spell at 5th level. Here it is. I was wrong. So charisma plus 2 and wisdom plus 1. I'm not sure why it says it up there. I keep going off of that over this, but whatever. It's right here. Alright, and let's go ahead and jump into the class now. So starting off with first level, we go fighter. I decided to go with insight and intimidation. We didn't go with persuasion here because it wasn't an option. You could, if you really want to get persuasion right away, you can get it through your background. You can choose one that you have that option, but it doesn't necessarily matter right away to myself that I have it. But if it does to you, you can go about that and change it up. For fighting style, I decided to go with 2-weapon fighting here. This is, of course, again, something that's more up to you. If you want to go with 1-weapon fighting and archery, this is completely up to you. I decided to go with 2-weapon fighting here. Also at first level, we gain second wind. This is an amazing ability. For us, it's going to end off as a D10 plus 7. So it's a fair chunk of health right there that we can gain back. Second level, we gain action surge. This is a beautiful, beautiful ability. And yeah, so by time with this character, we're going to have attack and attack. We're not going to have a third attack, unfortunately, but that's 4 attacks right there that we can have with action surge. and a bonus action swing because we are dual wielding in this case. So at 3rd level, we gain our martial archetype. I decided, of course, to go with the samurai here. The reason for that is because of our 7th level ability here. We'll get to that in a second. At 3rd level fighter, we also gain the fighting spirit thanks to our martial archetype. This is a pretty cool ability. We're able to give ourselves advantage on attacks for that round of combat. We also gain some temporary hit points. It's essentially a reckless from the barbarian, except you don't give other people advantage on attacks against you, and you gain health instead. Very cool, but reckless you can do forever. This, we only have 3 charges of it, but still, very, very cool ability that we can use whenever we see fit. And then at 3rd level, this is where we get to choose a samurai skill. This is where we finally get to choose the Persuasion. So we get to choose either a language or skill. Obviously, skill seems better to me than a language personally, but alright, now at 4th level, we gain our first ASI. I decided to go with the Observant feat here. Mostly this way we gain the Wisdom score increase, so our Wisdom is a +1 with our racial, and with this, it's another +1, increases our modifier from an 18 to a 19 to a 20. So our Wisdom is maxed out in this world where we happen to have rolled an 18 that we can invest into our Wisdom. Also, I like that we get a passive increase to our perception, all that jazz. But if you don't have high scores, I would recommend just going with increasing your wisdom by +2 or your charisma by +2. I'd really recommend doing that over the feat if you need to. But if you don't need to, hey, you get the feat option. 1st level, we gain our extra attack. Extra attack is beautiful. 6th level, we gain another feat. This is where I decided to go with dual wielder. This because this is my fighting style. This is where you could go with great weapon master, go with whatever. But I would recommend for this character, because we are dex base, to go with either a one-handed finesse weapon or to dual wield 2 finesse weapons. With this, it'll allow us to dual wield 2 rapiers in each hand, so it would be befitting this character that you can do that. If not, you'd probably be by this level you'd still probably be using daggers and shit, but that's fine. Also, it increases our AC by 1 whenever we're wielding separate melee weapons in each hand. This is a really awesome feat here. And at 7th level, this is where we get the Elegant Courtier. I believe that's how you say it, but essentially, so our discipline and attention to detail allow us to excel in social situations. Whenever we make a Charisma Persuasion check, you gain the bonus to the check equal to your Wisdom modifier. So essentially, we not only get to add our Charisma onto our Persuasion checks, we also add now our Wisdom onto it. So now we are proficient in Persuasion, we have our Charisma, and we have our Wisdom. It's gonna be maybe like a 12 at this level, I were to think. About a 12 thereabouts. I can't remember where the proficiency bonus is around that, but a 12 is still pretty high for level 7. This also gives us proficiency of Wisdom saving throws. I really like this. It's a really nice ability to have. So that ends off with the fighter, and that's all I wanted. That's it. This character was solely built around getting the highest persuasion as possible, and I tried to think of what class would be best next, and I was going over Bard or Rogue, and then I realized I want to go Rogue. 1st level Rogue, we gain a new proficiency. Because we're such a high dex base, I decided to go with Acrobatics. It felt fitting, and we're fitting more into that pirate feel at this point, or whatever you want to be. You don't need to be a pirate with this build. You can make up any sort of story for this character. Maybe you are purely just a samurai, but you're a bit more eccentric. Like, you build up the backstory, you build up how this character portrayed how you wish. 1st level Expertise, this is where I decided to finally get my Stealth and to an Expertise, because this is finally when we can. Wow, that was a stupid sentence. I'm gonna go with it. And then of course this is where we get our Persuasion to Expertise. So now we have Proficiency, Expertise, our Wisdom modifier, and our Charisma modifier onto our Persuasion. So that's nuts. That's insane. We already have all this shit. This is only at 8th level here, and we already have an Expertise and all this extra shit. This is also where we gain our Sneak Attack, and this is where I very much like this, and this is why I would recommend sticking with that Dex build over some other build, and possibly, again, going with Dual Wielder. It's a very fun build to go with. We also gain Thieves' Cant at level 1, pretty useful. 2nd level, we gain Cunning Action. This is awesome. Rogue abilities. And at 3rd level, this is where we get to choose our Roguish archetype. And, of course, I went with the Swashbuckler. Now, this is one of the bigger reasons why I went with, I had a harder time picking out things, but the Swashbuckler involves a lot of charisma and persuasion abilities that you can use. So I felt that it would most benefit itself, and it feeds into itself. So with third level, we gain Rakish Audacity. Your confidence propels you into battle. You give yourself a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your charisma modifier. Higher initiative rolls. Not going to say no to that. We also gain an additional way to use our sneak attack. You don't need advantage on the attack roll, which we can gain through our samurai ability of Fighting Spirit. So if you really need to, you can just give yourself advantage, which is awesome. While we don't need advantage on our attack rolls to use our sneak attack against a creature within 5 feet of it, no other creature are within 5 feet of it, you don't have disadvantage on the roll. So essentially, if you're alone and like maybe if you're going one-on-one with something, you can essentially always sneak attack without being hidden. And I really like that. So like in a duel situation, this is very, very, very useful. I didn't really realize how useful it was up until I started getting into the swashbuckler. We also gain fancy footwork. This is essentially part of the mobile feat that we gain. So whenever we land a strike, we can slip away without reprisal. So essentially it is the mobile feat. We hit something, we can get the fuck out of dodge without getting an opportunity of attack. So very, very useful ability. Fourth level, we get a new ASI. I decided to go with the athlete feat. And that's a terrible pun that I keep saying by accident. But yeah, so I decided to increase the dexterity score here. The main reason why I want to go with this is because I am wanting to fit into that pirate theme. I wanted to get my climbing. I wanted to get my climbing up all the way. I really like that. Also, jumping from 5 feet is extremely useful, I feel, and getting up from prone is only 5 feet, so this is a pretty fucking useful ability to have here for us. Fifth level, we gain Uncanny Dodge, an amazing ability, half incoming damage, fitting into that more of the duelist style theme of shit, really useful. Sixth level, we gain a new expertise. I decided to go with Deception and Intimidation. I really like this. This character, I feel like how I'm going to be playing up, it might be a female or male, it really doesn't matter to me. They're probably going to be extremely flirtatious, extremely like deceiving, extremely like cunning, and like they want to gain something from you, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, and they're doing it through their own ability to persuade. Seventh level, we gain Evasion. This is a fucking insane ability. We can dodge out of dexterity, saving throw shit. So we save from a Dragon's Breath. That was a dex save. We take no damage. Amazing ability. Eighth level, we gain a new ASI. I decided to go with Defensive Duelist here because we're using 2 rapiers in our hands at this point. We're able to add our proficiency bonus to our AC. Ninth level, we gain this ability called Panchy. I'm not sure.
Panache.
We gain Panache. We gain Panache. All right, so this is a pretty cool ability, which I once I seen it, this is where I fully realized I want to go into Swashbuckler. So our charm becomes extraordinarily begulling. As an action, you can make a Charisma Persuasion check. Our Persuasion at this level should be like a 20. To contest the creature's Wisdom Insight. That creature must be able to hear you, and it must also be able to to share a language with you. So might be useful to invest in linguist here, but whatever, we'll get into that in a little bit. If you succeed on the check and the creature is hostile to you, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you. So this could feed into you being a finesse tank, because you're probably gonna fucking persuade something into attacking you with a 20 persuasion check. So attacks against you have disadvantage. Attacks against other people other than you has disadvantage. They can't make opportunity of attacks against anybody but you, and the effect lasts a minute until someone else attacks the target. So you can kite something away with this, possibly. A very, very useful ability. You can pull something off of the healer, pull something off of a squishy range, and be able to handle your own and to distract long enough in order for your group to possibly deal with a whole bunch of other minions while you're focusing on the big boss, the big guy, being a badass overall. And then once everything else is dead, then your group jumps onto this big target, and you're able to, play up that distraction role and do some really cool shit. However, if you succeed on the check and the creature isn't hostile to you, it is charmed by you for a minute. And that's fucking cool as shit. So while charmed, it regards you as a friendly acquaintance. The effect ends immediately if you or your companions do anything to harm it. So essentially, we gain a free charm ability here that we can use all the time. It doesn't require a spell slot. We already have the charm person ability through our racial, which is really cool, but this allows us to extend it, and I don't see why you couldn't be able to continue to do this like every minute. Like, you could just lock somebody into a charm forever. That's how I view this ability. That's how I talk to my DM. That's how she views this ability. Extremely, extraordinarily powerful. Just locking somebody into a charm. Not only that, it doesn't say that, unlike with the magical charm, I believe, the magical charm says that they know that they've been charmed. They don't know that they've been charmed here. It doesn't say that they've explicitly known that they have been charmed, which is insane, which is great. You can get away with so much shit with this. It's so cool. Alright, I'm going to move on before I fanboy out or whatever. So at 10th level, we gain a new ASI. This is where I decided to go Resilient Dexterity, you know, helping us with those dexterity saving throws. Also increases our dexterity by 1. This is, of course, one of those where you could just increase your whatever you're missing, your dex by 2, your wisdom by charisma by 2. It's up to you entirely. And then, my favorite, most potent ability in all of this game, Reliable Talent. So Reliable Talent, essentially roll under a 9, that counts as a 10. This subverts 1s. If you're using 1s and 20s matters in skill rolls, rules as written, they don't matter, a 1 or 20 in a skill check. That's like a house rule that a lot of people do, which is fine. But this should subvert that, even if that is a house rule that you're doing, because 11 levels into a character is a huge investment. Also, by this level, you're like 18. Yeah, by this level, you're 18. That's nuts. So essentially what this means is that 22 persuasion that we have right now, that can't be rolled under a 32. We cannot roll anything under a 32 for our persuasion checks. That's nuts. That's the highest I've ever had any sort of check, just as a baseline go. So, like, pretend we roll a 20, all of a sudden we're at a 42 persuasion check. What the fuck? 12th level ASI, I decided to go with mobile. I really like 10 extra feet. We already have this through our rogue ability. Like, if you don't like this, I get it, but I really like the extra feet of movement. This character of mine is built around distracting, having the mobility to back up and to get into more advantageous positions. This also increases our climbing speed and all that shit. So I really like this, even though we already have an overlap. Of course, if you don't, just go with another feat or go with an ASI increase to whatever you could be missing. This is, again, one of those very optional feats that isn't required, but still a very beautiful feat to have. At 13th level, we gain Elegant Maneuver. You can use a bonus action on your turn to gain advantage on the next Dexterity, Acrobatics, or Strength Athletics check you make during the same turn. So, you know, pretty neat. You can do a lot of shit with this. This is like the 20th level cap. I think the Reliable Talent's a lot cooler, but this, you know, it's beneficial. You know, giving yourself advantage on dexterity acrobatics checks or an athletic strength check, like it's really useful. Alright, and now that we're back here, we can see just how much this character can do. So yeah, our persuasion, that's pretty nuts. So all of a sudden we get this bonkers persuasion. I don't even really, you could just, the prices you could haggle down with this, oh my god. There's just so much that you can do with this character, from just persuading and getting to, like, this is a very heavy, I'm realizing now that this is very heavily roleplay, like, getting to, you know, maybe that, like, and of how I'm going to be going about it with that flirtatious type of character that just seems to get their way from everybody, and, you know, like, it's just, there's so much roleplay potential here, and I really like that. Also, look at all these saving throws that we have. That's fucking nuts. That's insane. And of course, we got a walking speed of 40 right there. We got a fucking initiative of 10. Like, this very much, in my mind, will set that this is like my ideal pirate build. This could be your ideal whatever samurai build too. This could be whatever build that you want. But this is my ideal pirate build, and I really, really like this build. And I really hope that people can enjoy this build as much as I do, and gain some inspiration away from this, and take something away from it. As always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.